Sister Wives returns. That's right. I'm talking about Sister Wives. Just as we thought this tale had reached the end of the road, just as most of us breathed a sigh of relief believing that the Brown family saga was complete, TLC throws a bomb. Season 20 will be hitting this fall, debuting September 28th. And to pour salt in the wound, this is 3 days after Cody Brown appears on Special Forces. Imagine that. 2 programs, 2 networks, and the same fellow who has made manipulation his life's work splashed across our screens within the same week. Within all of this,
in this place where I just feel alone,
who is it that
isolated,
is requesting all this?
lonely.
No, I'm not.
I don't feel like
Seriously,
anybody else
somebody
in
give me
the
a good,
family
strong cup of
can
coffee,
even
or
relate.
Perhaps something a little stronger.
I'm feeling at
Because
a
I simply
place
can't
of
believe we're
limbo
doing this
right
again.
now.
And yet, here we are. A brand new trailer has been released, and it teases drama, tears, and wait for it, Cody suddenly becoming introspective. But before we go in, let's face a fact that we've known for years. This program has not been reality for many years. The reality was delicately edited, massaged, and in some instances, flat out concealed. Cody and Robyn have been writing the script, half-truths and all, while the other wives were shuffled to the side. But this season, things look different. A few of the wives are finally leaning into honesty, at least with what they're willing to share, while others appear to be embarking on what TLC is clearly positioning as a redemption journey. And then there's Cody. Based on what the trailer reveals, he's preparing for what appears to be his take on a humble make-amends tour. He's sitting down with each wife individually to relive past grievances. But let's get real. Does this resemble authentic apology? Or is everything about spiffing up his brand? Is he attempting to reconnect for real? Or is this merely damage control masquerading as humility? You decide. The bombshell is that this isn't coffee shop small talk. These sit-downs are being framed as heavy, emotional talks in which all the hurt of the past comes together in the same space. Can you envision it? Years of broken hearts, betrayal, favoritism, and neglect, and now Cody wants to sit down and break bread and discuss it? It's just about as surreal as it sounds. But don't be mistaken, friends. This isn't about closure. This is about control. And if we know anything about Cody Brown, it's that control has always been his biggest hang-up. Now, this is where it gets even more crazy. The trailer hints at something jaw-dropping. While allegedly mourning his broken plural family, Cody is also fielding attention from women online who'd love to be a part of his family. Yes, you heard that correct. Even as he publicly claims to be done with plural marriage, there are emails. Yes, bona fide emails, behind the scenes from women seeking to get to know him in hopes of being his next wife. Can you imagine it? Cody Brown, broken-hearted patriarch on one side, and on the other side, proactively wife number 5 shopping. But this is where I just can't help but pose the uncomfortable question, why now? Why the sudden rush for redemption dinners, apologies, and healing conversations? Well, let's not forget about the Browns still having the looming specter of Coyote Pass above their heads. And isn't it just a tad too convenient that this so-called reconciliation effort occurs more or less around the same time those land disputes were being resolved? It practically feels like Cody was playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. Was this healing journey genuinely about family, or was it merely a guise to maintain his hands on money and property? Because in my opinion, Cody's motives have never been clean. Never. Now, let's discuss the official synopsis for the season, because TLC really went all in on the drama. It reads, "The Browns are back and more emotionally raw than ever." After teen resumes a series of breakups, the family is confronted with significant turning points. Meri dabbles in dating with a speed dating session. Janelle moves toward a spiritual divorce following a liberating New Orleans trip. Christine and David move into married life, with Christine experiencing undesired hurt as her children start moving closer to Janelle in North Carolina. In the meantime, Cody grapples with his broken-down family in the background, filled with flashbacks of the house he had shared with Robyn. He is looking for new beginnings, issuing belated apologies, and even accepting online prospects who send in suitors to become part of the family. It's quite the sell, isn't it? On the surface, it sounds salacious. Turbulent family life, cringeworthy first dates, intense showdowns. But then there's that line about bitterness and blame. And truly that word, bitterness, is always a warning sign for me. It's the sort of word fundamentalist families use to shut up women who've been abused. You're just bitter. Translation? Shut up about how you got abused. And the fact that TLC used that wording says to me that they're still attempting to present the women's rightful pain as some sort of personal shortcoming. That is manipulation, nothing more. But let's get back to Christine for a minute, because something in that summary doesn't add up. Apparently, she's jealous that her children are relocating close to Janelle in North Carolina. Now, does that sound plausible to you? Because it doesn't to me. Christine struggled for years to provide her children with freedom and stability outside of Cody's drama, so why would she begrudge them being close to Janelle, the only sister wife who has ever loved and supported them? It seems like TLC is attempting to manufacture a rivalry that isn't there. For the record, Mike Kelty and Tony relocated to North Carolina for Tony's job, not to be closer to someone. And although Peyton has been seen with Janelle in pictures, nobody truly knows whether he's actually moved there to stay. But the notion that Christine would be jealous over her children having a relationship with Janelle, that's not only far-fetched, that's insulting. And then there's Cody, the man who can't possibly bear the notion of being irrelevant. Despite the fact that he's stated it 1,000 times that plural marriage is in his past, the evidence cries differently. Cody has spent his whole adult life with women who were supposed to vie for his attention, his approval, and his time. Do we actually think he can just fall quietly into love with only Robyn? Of course not. He feeds on the commotion, the battle, and the ego gratification of having women revolving around him in numbers. Which brings us to the last creepy question. Who in the world are these women contacting him on the internet? Who, in 2025, looks at the destruction of this family and thinks, yes, that's the man I want to bind myself to? It's strange. It's uncomfortable. And it's precisely why Sister Wives Season 20 could be the most telling installment so far. Not because Cody has changed, but because he hasn't. And then there was the half of the trailer that got everybody talking, the coyote. Past showdown. We listened to Cody making those infamous phone calls about dividing the property. Somebody wants a couple pieces of the property, and the wives come back with distrust right away. Does your money ever go into his hands? It better not go through his hands. There is the tension. You can cut it with a knife. Because this isn't simply about property, it's about control, trust, and years of betrayal that have culminated in this exact moment. Coyote Pass has long been the greatest symbol of Cody's broken promises. He sold this dream to the wives for years. The fantasy of everyone living alongside each other, building their forever homes together. But as we all know, that dream did not exactly take. And now, after all the wiles, finally time to close. What do we have? Not resolution, not unity. Another standoff. One wife simply refuses to sell unless it's perfectly fair. Her words, "I'm not selling this land until we do this the right way." The cameras refer to it as the final showdown. But let's be honest, it's not for fairness for all. It's about who gets to leave with the largest portion of power and money. And here's the twist. We already know how this land was distributed. It's public record. All the wives eventually signed off, and the division was 25% each. That should have been tidy, right? But the reality is, the one person causing all the delays was Robyn, not Meri, not Janelle, not Christine, Robyn. She procrastinated for months, not wanting to sign the paperwork until she had to. Meri and Janelle signed months ago. The papers were signed, the deeds were conveyed, the arithmetic was obvious. Each wife has 25%. And since Cody and Robyn are lawfully wedded, they together have 50%. But when Robyn did sign, it was at the very end, when the sale of the property was literally taking place. And yet, in the trailer, Robyn's playing martyr. She's staging herself as the one who is advocating for fairness. Fair for who, Robyn? For everybody, or just for you? Honestly, I would not be surprised if she actually wanted more than her fair share. With Robyn, fair always appears to equate to whatever is best for me and Cody. Now, while the real estate drama bubbles in the background, the trailer dishes up another gut blow, Cody abruptly declaring he desires healing with all three former wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. He utters the words as if they are dripping with honesty. I would love healing with Meri. I would love healing with Janelle. I would adore healing with Christine. But right away, we see the wives' responses. Christine just tells Cody straight out she never wants to speak to him again. Janelle rolls her eyes and outright labels him something many fans have been saying for years. When are you ever going to come to your senses and realize he's an ass? And Meri, well, Meri sits in that befuddling, painful in-between she's always resided. Because here's the thing. Cody's timing is not coincidental. Christine states precisely what irks her. Just as Cody is parading around suddenly with his apologies, he was in the process of battling her over custody and child support for Truly. You can't just dismiss that. His healing tour of sorts just so happens to coincide with court battles that impact his bank account. And if we know anything about Cody Brown, we know this. Nothing gets him going more than money. Consider it. What better way to warm Christine up than by feigning humility, feigning reconnecting, all in the hopes that she'd stand down from threatening him legally? It's manipulative, it's calculated, and it's typical Cody. Even with Janelle, the same pattern repeats. If he can cajole her, soothe her irritations, perhaps she won't nag so much about the fairness of Coyote Pass. Perhaps he saves himself a bundle of money. Always the same tale. Apologies not for mending, but for tactics. And then there's Meri. Oh, Meri. She's always stuck in this perpetual back and forth with herself. 1 minute professing she's done, the next tweeting cryptic justifications of Cody on social media, and then back to anger. Even the trailer hints at a moment when Cody confesses, "I said I didn't love you. That wasn't true." And TLC naturally presents it as a possible glimmer of reconciliation. But come on. Years of neglect, humiliation, and stringing along, how many times can Meri be lured back into the same old cycle? At one stage, she even laughs. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. And still, the show continues to tease her with the possibility like a pawn on a hook. It's painful to observe, but it's tiring as well. And to add insult to injury, the trailer concludes with one of the most jaw-dropping contradictions to date. On the one hand, Cody insists he's over polygamy. He's stated it on tell-alls, he's stated it in interviews, he's vowed that part of his life is over. But then we see the receipts, literally at the same time, in the same attire that he was when he shared with Robyn that women were contacting him on the internet. He's confessing that other women are approaching, asking to be a part of the family. And he doesn't shoot it down. He is considering it. Which means what? He's engaged in conversations. He's scanning messages. He may even be experimenting on those. Very sites meant for men looking for new sister wives. So here's the question nobody is really asking. Is Cody really finished with polygamy, or is he just finished with the women who could no longer tolerate his favoritism? Because the evidence points to him not being willing to relinquish the game. He's just willing to begin anew, but this time with new players. And the fact that there are still women out there signing up for this circus, that's not merely shocking, it's terrifying. And now we go to perhaps the most bizarre and jarring aspect of this entire enterprise. Cody Brown flirting with women on the web. That's right, the guy who spent the past 2 seasons insisting that he's done with polygamy, that plural marriage is over for him, is leaving the door wide open here to new brides. And the inconsistency here is breathtaking. Because consider the following. This is the same Cody who used to stare Robyn in the face and claim she was his last. He claimed polygamy was repulsive, disgusting, even abhorrent. He drew himself as a man victimized by the lifestyle, eager to put it in the ground for good. And yet, here he is, haunting cyberspace where women are literally signing up to be part of this freak show. Is this about love? No. Is this about family values? Not. On your life, this stinks of desperation, of a man who cannot exist without the limelight and without several women stroking his ego. And the biggest irony? Robyn was the one who pleaded for plural marriage to begin with. She was the one who wanted it, who insisted that it was sacred. But now? Now she reverse episodes herself, explaining that she wouldn't do it unless she knew it would work. Excuse me? Isn't that just convenient? On the one hand, she holds onto polygamy fantasy as a way to explain her participation in this show. On the other hand, she knows introducing new wives puts her at risk of losing her status as Queen Bee. It's not about principle. It's not about faith. It's about protection. And honestly, it's about seeing those TLC checks continue to roll in. But let's return to what's really happening here. Because amidst all these strange contradictions, Cody is unexpectedly sitting down with Meri and Janelle, expressing himself in ways that sound sincere, yet always converge at times when money or real estate is at stake. He informs Janelle over dinner, "I told you I loved you, and that was a lie." He tosses Meri a line straight out of Taylor Swift herself, "We are never, ever, ever getting back together." These aren't moments of heartfelt introspection. These are checks on a chessboard. And if you string the timing out, it perfectly aligns with the Coyote Pass struggles and Christine's custody battle for Truly. Isn't it clear what's going on here? Each apology, each tearful dinner, each sob is timed not for healing, but for leverage. Here's the ugly reality. Cody is hoovering. If you have ever experienced a narcissist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the supply departs, when the attention, the loyalty, the validation dry up, they can't handle it. So they return. They beg, they plead, they manipulate, trying to pull you back into their orbit. Meri was his source of supply for decades. Janelle has cut and run before, but always returned. Cody knows their vulnerabilities. He knows the words to use to dangle in front of them. And while Christine has closed the door forever, gone on to build a new life with David and flourish, Cody still senses chinks in Meri and Janelle's armor, and he squeezes those cracks at every opportunity. But this is where it all comes apart. If Cody is really done with polygamy, then why is he flirting with strangers on the internet? Why is he dropping hints for new wives? Why is he ensuring producers record every one of these so-called redemption dinners? Because this isn't about healing, it's about a narrative. Consider this. Last season, with everyone apart, the show languished. The drama had evaporated because the wives had finally left. There was no mingling, no in-your-face blow-ups. And without that, TLC didn't have anything to sell. So now, abruptly, the ex-wives are being reunited. Abruptly, Cody is apologizing. Abruptly, he's ready for new women. It doesn't feel so much like real life and more like a producer's script. Created drama, fabricated storylines. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Cody's priorities. He has strained or outright broken relationships with most of his adult children. He's lost credibility with his wives. His family is scattered. And yet, instead of putting energy into repairing those father-child relationships, he's what? Browsing online for his next conquest? That speaks volumes. He's more concerned with keeping the show alive than with being a father. So, what is the ultimate goal here? Is Cody really seeking out new wives to rebuild his plural kingdom? Is he attempting to coax Meri and Janelle back in, even temporarily, just to please the audience? Or is all of this merely a desperate stunt to keep sister wives on the air? Because, let's be real, without polygamy, without drama, what's left? A program about one man and his beloved wife at odds in an empty home. That's not television gold, that's channel surfing fodder. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's why Cody's suddenly wielding his charm again. He requires strife. He requires mayhem. He requires the camera to focus on him, because otherwise, he's nothing. And that's something Cody Brown simply cannot abide. So what do you two think, besties? Do you really believe Cody is looking for new wives? Or is all of this a plotline to keep sister wives on the air for another season? Would Meri or Janelle even be tempted for even 1 second back into Cody's messy web? Or are you both like me, waiting to watch this man recede into the background where he should have been all along? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're here, don't miss out on hitting that like button, subscribing if you're new here, and tapping the bell so you never miss another breakdown of this crazy family drama. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that with the Browns, the story's never truly finished. It just continues to find new ways to keep us hooked.